So anyways, I'm going to run through this tutorial for the DX8 model, and this is the flame wheel. Oops. For the flame wheel. Brand new model, multi-rotor airframe, and this is assuming that you've already gotten it together. You know, there's not enough videos or support, and just in case you missed it, we're already set up to check our the rotation, which way the blades are rotating, but I'll backtrack a bit here for you. So anyways, I got in touch with Patrick from AerialMediaPros.com, and basically he was really helpful. I know most of the other videos out there are about JR radios or whatever, but I know there are still some people that are missing out on the spectrum stuff. So anyways, he's telling me that if you go to all videos, right, and then you go to the NAZA and the transmitter calibration, you can get all that, but there's some stuff missing out for the DX8. So this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to just show you briefly. Okay, so hold on, give me a quick sec. I'm going to hit the power on and the wheel. Okay, and then the next thing that you're going to do, the model type, it's going to be airplane. Okay, and I already got it for the F50. I've already named it. So as you notice, it's kind of set up for an airplane, which is fine. But the other thing is enable the switches, and a lot of people are saying don't enable, or even the directions on the manual say enable the direction of the disable the switches. So the gear have enabled aux2, aux3. Okay, nothing for the trim, but there's one more thing. Okay, so we're going to model select. I've already made that model. Okay, so it's DSMX, but the other thing that I'm going to show you is for your servo travel, and this is what we were trying to get to. So if you notice that the gear switch is basically on the top of the transmitter, so marked gear, and now when you hit those two, you can see them getting highlighted, and that's going to come into play when you need to switch in between the two modes. Okay, so with that, and then the other thing that you want to make sure that it's only on is just tone. Just put it for tone, because I know there's a lot of things in there for but I know with my other models, and I'm not too sure if Spectrum really fixed that problem, but I noticed with my other airplane and heli and stuff, you don't want to enable that. Don't enable that. Just put it on for tone, at least for your preliminary flight, and just 5 minutes. Okay, and I'm going to take it off trainer, so it's going to be throttle plus time. So now when you get above 10%, whoop, the other way, which is natural for the flame wheel. Like, so if you drop below 10%, your throttle, your engines are going to disable, right? Okay. So now, I'm going to hit that switch. So now you can see it on a monitor. It's the gear switch. So we're enabling those two. Okay. Great. We're going to go through the bind process. I've already put on the bind plug here. So the bind plug's in, and we're plugged in, ready to go. And you don't want to start this off with the transmitter already going. What you do, okay, everything's all installed, including your software. Your software's installed, which is good. As you notice that it's blinking red, it's not communicating. That's what it's telling me, that it's not communicating. And of course it's not, because we're not plugged in yet. So, that. And you can hear it. And we're blinking. And now what we're going to do is hit the trainer and power up. So we're binding, and lo and behold, and just keep holding it. Now it's already clicked, and you notice we're on airplane, and the light's solid. That's groovy. That's fine. That's awesome. And then pull the bind plug. Okay. And remember, your wiring diagram is just as what it says. Try to have a clean hookup. So your wiring's kind of out of the way there and everything. Your battery's nice and secured as well. Making sure everything's nice and tight. Right, so it's not moving around. So the other thing now is we're gonna check. So now, okay, so this is back is up, and as you can tell, the E is moving. That's back. Okay, and your aileron, right? So A is moving. And then your throttle, so you move up, and then down, so up, and you can see it's communicating. And then your rudder, so left is left, right is right, as you can see, and the throttle is down. Okay, and then the other thing is, when you enable your throttle, see it's doing a countdown when you hook up your transmitter that way. So now you know for sure, okay, I gotta come down, instead of kind of guessing at your battery level. At least you get a pretty decent time. You can try to figure out stuff in between flights, which is good. And the other thing that I want you to pay attention to is, okay, remember that setting with the gear channel? Okay, watch this. So we just enable those two, that setting, and that's your travel. And remember, this is the DX8. It's not for any other radio. This is for the DX8. So alright, so there's your switch, and I'm not connected. Like, this is the transmitter communicating to the flame wheel. So now when you click it, okay, so those two are working, and that's basically that's what Patrick was telling me, is like, if you can't get those two enabled, then you're gonna have difficulty. Okay, so and the other thing that he told me to do was to, okay, you need to calibrate. So what we're gonna do is hit start. You see it jumping all over, of course, but you do all the circles. Boom. So those two are okay. Hit all four corners, center, and voila. So there, those are calibrated, and your switch works in between the two. And this is just a basic setup. I mean, if you want to do an advanced setup, well, you don't go to heli. You still keep it radio to airplane. Okay. Okay, and the next thing, of course, is your transmitter. Yeah, but your, if you're a hexa rotor, which this one is, and you can see the two red, and those are two red, and you can see the way the circle is. That's basically telling you which way the propeller is supposed to turn. And it's a good thing these are brushless motors, because when you switch to two wires, well, that switches the direction of the propeller. Okay, and then the autopilot, what you want that to, I know it kind of looked like it switched to that, but it didn't. Not really, no. So you can just hit default value for that. And yeah, we're still counting down, but what you can do is just hit clear. Just hit clear. Okay. Just remember that's enabled by the throttle. Okay. Went back to the settings. So these are all inhibited. And then your gimbal. Well, if you have the gimbal, what that means is just this, exactly this. You can have a gimbal on underneath the 2-axis gyro. Changes the pitch and your roll. So the attitude of your camera. And you don't have it, that's good. Like, I mean, when you're just starting out, you need to learn how to fly. That's good. Okay, so your voltage, just remember, like, if you're 3-cell, well, set it to 3-cell. If you're 2, set it to 2. But I'm 4. So and the safeguards will kick in. I put on the protection switch. That's fine. So I can click calibrate, and that's good. So, and if you notice here too, down here, when I hit the switch, it'll switch to attitude and manual. Now, what I was told from manual switch, when I switch to manual switch, which is towards me, that it's more of an aggressive setup. Now, your engines are gonna increase on the, like your RPM is going to increase. Okay. So, and after all that's all set and done, what you do is you click right. So you seen that? It just kind of blacked out there a little bit, but it's communicating. This is what that blue light says, is it's communicating. Okay. So if you're quad, if you're 4 and you want to change your attitude, just remember that your NAZA, the way it's faced, this is the important thing right here, because that's forward. And then if you have it over here, you notice that here is facing down one stick, where versus this one is you know, in between the two motors. And then mine, the way I have my setup here, which is the F550, and you can see that. Okay, so we're finished binding now, and we're gonna check. We're gonna check now. Remember, we've already clicked right, and now it's what I was told is now you can basically just pull this out. Sorry. Okay, so you can see it flashing now, and kind of get this away from everybody. You don't want to put the propellers on right away for this, because if you kick it on right away, you know, you're going to get a little thrust, and we're on the inside. We're inside a house or an apartment. So after you disconnected and everything, what I was told is, alright, so now you shut your radio off, which it is. A little bit of glare there. So now we're gonna rebind, which is just, we're just gonna turn the radio on. There's no bind plug in there again. See the bind plug over there? Okay, I didn't put the bind plug in because it's already bound. So what I mean is, we're just gonna plug in the battery. We're just gonna plug it in now. Okay, and everything should work. And you'll see by the lights what you should expect. So, okay, so it flashed green. Now we got yellow. Yellow is indicating that it's on attitude, which is the top button here. So enable that for attitude and toward, but don't hit it now. What we're going to do now, and you'll see, is we're going to so there's a combination stick, and you'll see. And you'll notice that you have to keep it about 10. Just keep the motors going. Now, I've already pre-checked all the motors, the way the firing sequences go, as per manual. Okay, the other thing that I want you to see is that don't put your hand anywhere near the tape or anything. Kind of get in between, because you can hear it. So it's trying to correct, and then when it's level, it's good. So that's how you can tell it's all enabled. Alright, we're going to shut it off. And all I did was I just throttled down, and that is made sure that you can tell by the tape the way that they're actually flowing. So they kind of bent. So it's actually a pretty good trick. You can see which way the tape's actually bent, because they were straight at first, but now they're bent. So you can really tell by the rotation. Okay, now that I've found out which way my direction of my propellers are spinning, I've gone ahead and done that, but there's a little, it's kind of not notched out, and you can see from the propeller how they got a little notch in there. So make sure that those are nice and on there, so you can see from the diagram that that one is this one. So now, and you can tell by the propeller that the leading edge is round. So in that, it's basically telling you that this is spinning that way. Okay. So we're going to put that on, and that's how you start. That's how you figure out which way that propeller is spinning. So and it's telling me that that's right. Okay. And I'll just continue on with hooking these up, and you can tell by the way the tape is kind of folded, because these were straight, but now they're kind of folded over. So now you can just basically set that up. I know I was kind of worried about it to figure out, and if they're not spinning in the right direction, what you do is you disconnect any two of these wires, and reverse any two, and that'll get it spinning in the right direction. Okay. And what you do is of course you turn your transmitter on first, always. Turn the transmitter on first, and then you plug it in, and then you initialize, and then the rotors will be spinning, and then you can tell from there which way your tape is bent. Okay. Okay. So now I've taken all the tape off, and all the propellers are and the motors are facing in the right direction. So as you can see, there's the red one, and this is the model that I'm taking up, and that's what I've preset in my settings. So that one turns that way, and same with that one. You can see the arrow, and this one, so it's every odd one. This one turns this way, and you can see with the arrow it turns that way, and so the other way, so every odd one. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an initial flight. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna start it up again. We're gonna start this up. Start this baby up. Turn your transmitter on first. See, it's in airplane mode. And then we'll do is power that up. Okay, and what I was told is green. I got a voltage cutoff, so I'm good, and it'll start flashing red if I start dropping below voltage. Okay, attempt to get it off the ground. Which is pretty good. I had to put a little, I was basically when I started I had to put a little bit forward, you know, just kind of get it balanced out, just to start it up, but I'll try again. Okay, just you have to hit all the buttons to one side or the other.